This is good. This is great. I'm glad. I'm happy about it. As much as it might be slightly embarrassing, it's a good thing, and it's only going to make me healthier and better. And I'll challenge everybody that's listening to improve their Vo2 Max faster than I will.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Fitness Show, episode 52. It's not the book review because I'm a lazy bastard that can't read. Yes, that's the best I can come up with. I spent yesterday profusely apologizing, Philly accent, profusely apologizing to my co-host, Big Mike Barron's the most understanding co-host in podcasting history. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, bud. I'm good. I totally understand not getting a book read because I have not reread the book either. The book we were talking about is called Prepared by Mike Glover. I've read it before, so I've listened to the audiobook and I've read it once before, but I haven't reread it, so it wasn't fresh in my mind. So we're on the same page, so it's all good. You didn't do anything that I didn't do, so we're even as far as not having being ready for that.
Well, to give people a little bit of context, if you went back to episode 51, we talked about managing stress.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. We had a record almost 90 minutes pre-production meeting, which is awesome pre-production talk. But that episode was like right on point where you and I both were, and probably still are too, but we're trying to work our way out of it. But in the midst of the stress and kind of the chaos in my mind, trying to figure out things, running multiple businesses, trying to figure out how to support my family, same with you. The reading just took just such a backseat to everything. But when I was reading with the Choose Your Enemies Wisely, with the Warrior Poet book, it was enjoyable and I felt more centered, and it felt like it was a really very relaxing part of every single day to do that. It wasn't just, oh, we got to do it and I got to read this. It became, okay, I got to stop reading because I have to do something else. But it was a good feeling of when I read, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, sometimes 90 minutes went by just like that. So I feel ashamed of my own because I was enjoying the habit of reading every day, and I got out of it. I'm still reading my Bible study and all that stuff. So I haven't abandoned everything, but it was like, wow, one book a month is not that hard, but we tend to make it harder on ourselves when we stress ourselves out so much. So everybody out there, if you're feeling a little bit of that, go back to episode 51 because you're definitely not alone. Mike and I are definitely struggling with that.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It is hard when the stress comes in, you don't get to the book part of it. So it's, but that was part of my issue too, is I just have so much that I'm trying to get done, and trying to manage the stress and turn it into dollars, I guess, has been overwhelming. And one thing that I haven't done, to make a nice little segue here, is the topic of this episode, which would have been good for reading books, because if you do cardio, and that's what we're going to talk about here, cardio for men, older men in their 40s and 50s, that's our focus of why it's important. We're going to talk about that in this episode. That could have maybe helped both of us read more. I know when I do some cardio, I don't do a ton of it, but when I do, I always put on an audiobook and listen to it. And that would have been something that could have helped manage the stress. And from to kind of button up last week's episode, cardio is a great stress reliever as well. So there's a lot of benefits to doing cardio every single day.
Well, I'm going to take it from the other end of it, because I would use cardio and workouts in general, but mostly cardio for that stress relief, but I tended to overdo it. In this episode, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to put out a video on my fitness channel talking about cardio for men over 50. How much is too much? And I have a lot of experience with that because I've always been a very emotional trainer as far as working out. Like one of my emotions, when I'm not in control, when I'm stressed or whatever, I always lean to working out and going to the gym as a crutch. The problem is I work out first thing in the morning. If I'm stressed out in the afternoon, I'm like, well, here's the solution. Let me go do a half hour to an hour of cardio.
Sure.
That can also really, really have a negative effect on you. And we talked about stress last week. The stress on your body from too much cardio or too much working out can also raise that cortisol level, and you're actually doing yourself worse by doing that cardio. Very thin line, right? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can push yourself too far for where you're at. Like there's obviously people that run all the time and they can do cardio for hundreds of miles a week, and but they train to get to that point, right? And if you're not in that position of being able to do multiple sessions of cardio, there is a fine line of what can screw it up. So when we talk about cardio and doing cardio and how important it is, and I think what we'll get into is the types of cardio, what we can do with it, what the benefits are, why you should do it, and how important that is. It's just cardiovascular in health is super important. Like in the world, you hear about heart disease, you hear about cardiovascular disease, you hear about all these kind of things, and people aren't living healthy. And that's one of the things to me when you suggested that we talk about cardio, my brain immediately went to why. Like, why do we need to do cardio so much? Why is it so important? Why is it something that we need to focus on? And it was because of the incredible health benefits that come with it. And that to me is like the best way to kick off talking about this discussion is here's why you need to do cardio. And then we can talk about how and what to do and stuff. But why you need to do it is for long-term health and wellness. There's so many studies that show the difference in someone who does cardiovascular work. And I'm not saying just going and running and whatever, just anything to get your heart rate moving and to improve your cardiovascular
Could be
health.
strength training. Strength training also raises your heart rate.
Yeah, exactly. And so doing things that can improve the real telltale sign of good cardiovascular health is a thing called Vo2 Max. And it's basically how well your body can utilize oxygen. That's a big marker of your cardio health and how much cardio you do. If your VO2 max sucks, you can improve your VO2 max and it will have a direct correlation to life expectancy. There's a Dr. Rhonda Patrick talks about this a lot. And then Dr. Peter Attia I've listened to some podcasts, read some books from Peter Attia. Rhonda Patrick, I don't think she has a book. I haven't read one if she does. But they talk about how studies have shown that when you increase your VO2 max, you can literally add years to your life expectancy. And it's insane when you go from a very low VO2 max to a slight improvement. If I remember correctly, the studies were showing that you can add almost 3 years to your life expectancy by just that little bit of improvement. But if you go from very low VO2 max to a higher VO2 max, you can add like almost 5 years of life expectancy just by increasing your VO2 max, not to mention the better quality of life that you're going to have because your VO2 max is higher. And some of the best ways to increase your VO2 max is through doing cardiovascular work. So I just wanted to preface this whole conversation that's the why. That's why we're doing this. And it's to improve your life quality. It's to improve your life expectancy so that you can live healthier for a longer period of time. And that's really the reason behind cardio. Yeah, I can lose weight and all that other stuff. But man, the overall big picture view of cardio is huge from a long-term health and wellness perspective.
Well, let's focus on that because you'll educate me more on this because in my experience, like I said, I've gone too far with the cardio. Now I haven't done anything to specifically dial in my VO2 max, nor measure it, nor try to improve it. So I that's something for me to do my homework on.
Sure.
But at the same time with that, what does one, I don't know, trying to ask this correctly, because there's a lot of questions about this. All right, number one, how do you calculate your VO2 max?
Ooh, that's a good question. You have to get it tested. I don't know the actual calculation.
Is it just a heart rate? Is it a range? Like, you have your zones.
Sure.
And they always label the higher zone like a 4 or 5 is the VO2 max, I believe, or up towards there is your VO2 max at the top end of your heart rate. So you're talking about basically if you want to really train the VO2 max, you're talking about cardio like boxing, kickboxing, high intensity interval training, stuff like that. You're talking about something that you're not doing steady state cardio for 20, 30, 40 minutes. This is very much the 8 minutes, 8 rounds, boxing, ski erg, rowing, these types of things. To achieve that, you're talking about actually the most minimum amount of time invested in your cardio session to measure and improve that, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, pretty much. I mean, that's definitely a good way to explain it with the different zones of cardio, and I think we should get into that and explain what those are. But
Yeah,
to
because there's
the
people
V,
out there also, just to give you a little another wrinkle in this that we can compare. There's people that say the VO2 max is the way to go for the longevity, for the best benefits. Then there's the people that are strictly get to zone two, stay in zone two, do the zone two cardio, and that's the longer steady state stuff that you
mhm.
want to do. So when we get down, further in this episode, maybe we compare and you can give your opinion of what you think would be better for who is looking for these benefits.
Right. Well, and to just touch on the zones that you're talking about, I'm going to bring up a
I was
screen.
trying to buy you time.
No, it's good. I have it ready. It's Let me find this right here. Share the screen. Where's it at? No, hold on. Sharing a window. Present. Sorry, hold on, everyone.
There's many
It's
different
not letting
reasons
me
why
do
we
it.
should never go live, and the opening is one of them, and this is another.
Present the slide. Share screen. Let's
Hey,
do the
by the way,
window
we
here.
we have we have successfully tested Ecamm a couple of times. We should try it again and see if we can get the
We should.
presentation stepped up a notch.
All right. Well, the video's not coming up, so the audio listeners, I'm just going to read through it, and then I'll overlay the video on this for the video podcast. But basically, there's 5 different zones of cardio. There's zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cardio that you can do, and it's from very low intensity, longer duration, and then it progresses to get maximum intensity for shorter duration. And the kind of the one that everybody lives in all the time, and there's this zone 2 cardio, and that's great for fat burning. And so that's something that it's going to help you have more endurance. It's going to help you burn some fat. It's good for long term, and that's kind of the old bodybuilder approach. I got to do my 30, 45 minutes of cardio every day. I just get on the treadmill or get on the Stairmaster or get on the elliptical and do 30 to 40 minutes of cardio because it's zone 2, long duration, good for fat burning. But that doesn't do much to increase your VO2 max, if anything at all. You have to stress your heart and lungs a little bit to increase that VO2 max. It might work fine to maintain where you're at, but it's not going to increase it. So you have to step up into zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 cardio to really increase that VO2 max over time. And the more you can do that, the better you're going to be able to increase your VO2 max. And so doing some zone 2 stuff is fine, but a few days a week, you need to get into that zone 4, zone 5 cardio and really push it to get your heart rate. So if you're zone 2, if you can do it all day and you're not super breathing heavy when you're done, then that's a telltale sign that you didn't do enough to increase your VO2 max. If you do 5 minutes of zone 4, zone 5 cardio and you're breathing heavy as can be by the end of it, okay, now you've done some things to try to test and stress your VO2 max. And I know that the different zones is good because a lot of gym equipment, a lot of heart rate monitors, a lot of, like, the Apple Watch has a zone thing on it. So you can watch when you set a workout, you can see what your zone is and how based on your heart rate. And then you can really track it that way. So when you're tracking it on the Apple Watch or whatever other watches, most other watches have it, that can show you the different zones that you're in. You want to try to be in zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 for a good portion of time. Instead of focusing on the zone 2. So that's the breakdown of the zones. I mean, there's zone 1 is just really light. It's just like walking, where zone 2 is just a little bit of cardio. Zone 5 is sprinting, max effort, short distances repeatedly for a shorter period of time. So I hope that helps everybody understand. And the people watching on YouTube, will have put a graphic up so you can see that. I don't know why it's not sharing it for some reason right now. But it's definitely a huge benefit by adding in that zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 cardio.
The thing too about that, and this is going to bring a lot more questions. By the way, thebigfitnessshow@gmail.com, or leave a voicemail. We'll play it on the episode. This is one of those topics where ask all the questions you want because it could quite literally be life or death for a lot of people. So we want to give the best information, and we're learning as we go along too. That's why I'm going to ask Mike all the questions during this episode. But the thing too is, like, with zone 40, all right, I want to say this while I'm thinking about it. You just said machines and stuff like that. The Apple Watch might be the most mainstream consumer product that has a decent job of reading this. Obviously, a chest strap is going to be the most accurate, especially when you're talking about Vo2 Max. In the near future, I'm going to come out with a video that I believe is a great PSA that your cardio equipment is lying to you. Whether you the
Yeah.
handhold the thing for the heart rate monitor, the amount of calories, the amount of distance, it is not accurate by any means. The most accurate way you can get your heart rate is through a chest strap monitor. Now you can pair that with an Apple Watch, your Garmin, your Fitbit, so you can still get the reading on your wrist. But wrist-based, not perfect, but better than the actual machine. The very best that you can do. And actually, I think Fourth Frontier and a bunch of other brands actually have sensors that are even better than, say, the Polars. And so they're a lot more expensive, but you definitely, especially if it's life or death and your cardiologist is telling you stuff, Apple Watch is decent. Chest monitor is about the best you can get for the real-time accurate feedback for your heart rate.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we'll link to a chest monitor in the description so you guys can find the one that Stevie and I recommend. We'll talk about it afterwards and figure out which one we recommend for people. But yeah, the chest monitor is definitely the best way to go. If you don't like wearing that, I understand. I don't really love wearing it, but it's the best measurement that you can have. The Apple Watch, the thing that I like about, and I'm glad you brought up the cardio equipment lying to you. Your watch is lying to you too, to a certain extent. But what I like about it is it's all relative, right? So if you wear an Apple Watch, you're going to be the same reading all the time. So maybe it's not 100% accurate with how many active calories you burnt that day, but if you're wearing the Apple Watch today, it's going to give you the same general idea of what it was tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And so then you can see if you had a baseline this day, you can see based on the Apple Watch, the relative improvement. Is it 100% accurate? Maybe not, but it is pretty close and a great metric to use. And that's the same thing with a Fitbit or Garmin or whatever Apple Watch you want to use. They can be a good assessment of doing that. But then the chest strap is obviously going to be the best right next to your heart. So you really tell your heart rate and get that stuff figured out. But what I also like about it too, with the Apple Watch, and I've noticed this, excuse me, it gives you an estimate. If you look in the fitness app of the Apple Watch, have you ever seen this? They have an estimated Vo2 Max in there. And so, yeah, and it's kind of cool. So if you look, I'm going to pull it up and so I can tell people exactly.
One thing I want to note too about the Apple Watch that gives it an advantage, and if you pair it with a chest strap, you get the best of both worlds. You get the accuracy and all that stuff and the feedback. But if you're doing cardio, say you're running on a treadmill, say you fall, the Apple Watch has the fall detection, or even if you're just running outside and you fall, the fall detection is a good feature. Also, the AFib on the newer model Apple Watches, you have an AFib type of situation, you definitely want to be wearing one of these Apple Watches. So you combine that with trying to get that Vo2 Max, at least you have an idea to keep yourself as safe as possible in all situations.
Right. So if you go in the Apple Fitness app, if you go to just open up the app and on the summary screen, there's a spot for trends.
You're talking about on the phone? Okay.
Yeah, on the phone, there's a spot for trends. And then you can see it has a cardio fitness. And now the cardio fitness, it says it's a predicted VO2 max value, which is the maximum amount of oxygen your body can consume during an exercise. So this is measured when you're walking or running outside so that you can really tell what the VO2 max is. Is it going to be an exact science? No, probably not. But it will over time be able to show you any type of improvement based on the fitness that you're doing. So I really like this because it can show you in real time, or not in real time, but it will show you a metric of like over time how your VO2 max has improved. And the way it says to unlock it for it. Yeah, there you go. Yep. The cardio fitness.
How is it?
So, but you see the graph, how it's gotten better over time. So you've gone from 43 to 52. And for people listening, we're looking on the Stevie's holding this phone up to the screen and you can see over the last year, his VO2 max has gone up. Now, obviously there was a whole section of time where you weren't working out at all because you almost died. And so now, your VO2 max has gotten better, but it's
the interesting part about that though is, dude, I'll tell you, they just put a pin in this. If you're listening and watching, I'm going to give you, I didn't know that. I
Mm,
assumed it was the opposite. So we'll get back to that. But that's an interesting number. Go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, so like it gives you a clear metric to follow. And I think if you're already wearing an Apple Watch, if you're already wearing a Fitbit or something like that, you can at least figure it out. And so you ask the question, uh, how do you figure out your VO2 max? And so I looked it up real quick, and it's VO2 max is maximum milliliters of oxygen consumed in 1 minute divided by body weight in kilograms. So unless you've got something to measure, I've seen people do a VO2 max test and they put the breathing thing on so you can measure the expelled oxygen while you're running, and that's how you can test it. So you can really get it tested that way. And so the Apple Watch one was going to be my answer to like, hey, here's how you can test it without having all the fancy stuff, and it's estimated. It's not an exact science. So to get an exact VO2 max, you're going to have to go get it tested and expel the oxygen and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got to do what they call a stress test on the treadmill, and they're going
Yep.
to turn it up, put the incline up,
Yep.
do all that. I'll give you the fact right now, because that's what my video is going to be about, that I've actually done less cardio. I
Mm,
haven't done any interval training because, the impact of my lower back of jumping or even boxing and kickboxing. I've literally just been using cardio as a warm up.
yep.
However, on the strength side, reviewing that gym monster that's the tonal alternative, I've been doing a lot of supersets, a lot of drop sets, a lot of giant sets. So my heart rate actually goes up more on the strength training than the
Sure.
20 to 30 minutes of walking on a treadmill between 4.2, 4.6 miles an hour with a 4% incline, or, number 4 incline. It's very low impact to where I'd have to do 40 minutes to get my heart rate in the zone 2 or in the middle of zone 2. But the strength training has had more of a cardio effect. So the funny part about this VO2 Max reading on my fitness app is this is probably 85% to 90% strength training that I've shifted to. So
Mm,
I love cardio, but I'm always afraid of being too addicted to it and wanting to do an hour of boxing, an hour of rowing, or I got the ski erg handles for the gym monster, that kind of stuff. So it's very, very strange that I'm having the opposite effect. It's almost like this. Like I've done so much overtraining with cardio through years and probably decades of wrestling because I thought a cardio equaled getting lean at the time. I've learned a lot since then, but I'm almost trying to reverse the adrenal fatigue I've caused myself for
mm,
so very long. So
sure.
I don't know if that gives you a bit of context in that, but that's an interesting number considering the fact I'm doing the opposite right now.
Sure.
So I'm still going to add it. Your advice is solid, even if
Sure.
it's 2 or 3 days a week of interval training to get to that VO2 max to improve it. It's great, but I need to be very careful because I'm slightly obsessive.
Yeah. Sure.
It's
Sure.
just,
No, I understand. I understand. Well, and so I think I got this working. Oh, I got it working.
oh
Perfect.
my God.
The share the screen is working now. So this VO2 max chart for men, this is a great idea. And so when you showed me your number, what was your number? Like 53 something?
Let me get it again here. Sorry. I
Yeah.
think it's in the 50s. 52.
Okay.
My
So the
age.
chart,
I should have remembered that.
yeah. So the chart on screen is showing VO2 max and life expectancy. No, not life expectancy, but just showing where you're at as far as the the number of your VO2 max. And so for
Superior.
you, yeah. So if you look at Stevie, 50 to 59, greater than 49 is superior VO2 max. So that means that you're in good shape and you're very healthy.
Ready
Uh,
for the ring again, baby.
yeah.
Well, my back's not.
based on based on your age, based on, and obviously this is a very crude assumption, and I don't know, I didn't do a ton of in-depth review of this chart before I pulled it up. I just pulled it up on the fly, so take it for what it's worth. I mean, you're going to have to get actual testing, but this is a good range to see where you're at. And if you have an Apple Watch, you can start your VO2 max testing by doing outdoor walks. And so do this for a little bit to activate the VO2 max on the Apple Watch. You have to have at least 5 VO2 max readings in the last 3 months and 10 readings in the last 6 months. So you have to have gone on at least 5 outdoor walks or runs in the last 3 months to get a VO2 max reading on your watch. And when you have that, you can then see the estimated VO2 max on this chart, compare it to where you're at. And if you're at a 25 at age 40, you're not doing so hot. And then you can see over time what it progresses to. And then you can you can know if you're in better shape, giving yourself better life expectancy, giving yourself a better quality of life by increasing that VO2 max.
What's your number, Mike?
Oh, I don't have a number.
Oh, so I only got
I
this
haven't
because
done outdoor stuff.
yeah, we've done the outdoor walks like on the weekends at the beach. I
Yeah.
didn't even realize it was measuring the VO2 max. I thought I would have to do like ski erg, rowing, boxing, which I have done those things in the past. No, I haven't done those in 3 months, but we've done our beach walks. So basically, in the Apple Watch, it has to be the outdoor walk or running. If I do an indoor walk on the treadmill, that doesn't count. So it has to be those two specific workouts that you pick.
If I'm reading this correctly, I don't do a lot of cardio, so I might not. That might be why it's not picking up on it. If you pick the workouts, um, I'm reading it right now. No, it's not. It's not telling me that.
You would
It said
assume that the
outdoor
higher
walks.
you would assume that the higher intensity workouts would really hone in on that VO2 max, like a boxing, rowing,
Okay.
intense stuff like that.
Okay. So I will say that I am not good right now. I'm looking at my last VO2 max reading, and it has from January was the last reading that it has, and it says I'm at like 38. So that's not good. So I'll pull the chart back up so everybody can see. Let's see, present, share screen. Bring that back
I
up.
plan on buying another piece of cardio anyway.
So 40 to 49, 38. I'm at 38.3. So man, I'm bad. I'm real bad right here. That's where I'm at. That's pretty bad.
Oh man, I need you around for a long time.
I know. I better get that fixed. So there we go. Piece of accountability. Talk about getting called out live on an episode.
Well, you know what's great about it? We were talking in a pre-production meeting about you saying you just have to dial it in more, and maybe this is the accountability. This metric here is just going to keep you honest with that. You look at it like, yeah, it's not that's something to be like, okay, got to get up off my ass and like really
Yeah.
work on that number. But as we get older, and that's why we wanted to shift the focus here and kind of niche it down with men over 40, men over 50. Of course, everybody can listen and watch. We welcome everybody, but this keeps us accountable and sharing our stories as we get older. The room for the margin of error closes more and more with each passing year. So
Yep.
you have no choice. If you aren't accountable, that problem's going to take care of itself sooner
Yep.
rather than later. So I'm glad you looked at your number, man, because I think you'll be more dialed in after that.
Yeah, that's a wake up call right there. I was at 40 in June, but now my most recent reading is not good.
What you need to do is get in the ring and then start the workout, have an outdoor walk, and then have your match and see what it is. But that would be interesting. You know what? I thought about that, dude. I thought about for the fitness channel, or why if we ever kind of hang out together, that we test our heart rates in the ring when we're doing stuff. Because you can't imagine, like it's probably in the 150s and 60s during some the comeback or something like that. It's crazy.
Sure. Yeah, I need to get that fixed. That's not good. Well, okay, so now I gotta do some more digging on this because now I'm getting distracted and it's showing that my reading is above average, which doesn't make any sense.
Is there two different metrics, or is there two different is there different measurement type of systems that you're
so there's this reading right here, it shows, and then on the bottom of it, I can't let's see if I can get it to
I was gonna say it looks like thumb drives, and I'm a nerd.
So like it's cardio fitness levels and it's showing above average of where it's at. And so I gotta do some more digging and figure out this piece of it.
Now, like you said, this is an
But either
estimation. It's
way,
great
yeah,
that
it's got to come up.
it's great that the Apple Watch gives you an idea, but
Yeah.
the just like the chest strap as opposed to an Apple Watch, and definitely not the cardio equipment. Do not ever count
Yeah.
on the cardio equipment. The best you can do, and this is a yearly physical, or if you want to get top to bottom, like we did our life scan stuff where they basically saw everything, but there was a stress test attached to that, and it was very, very telling of my cardiovascular fitness and all that stuff and what I needed to do. They had the leads, they had I had everything on you, but it could be a great investment for everybody out there listening and watching to at least have it done now and then have that foundation to move forward with an Apple Watch, Fitbit, or whatever can measure that moving forward. But if you got to spend a few $100s and get it done properly, it could quite literally save your life, identify maybe a possible AFib, a regular heartbeat, all these different things that you may not even know. There's silent killers out there. And if you've never been tested, this might be the episode, like Mike, get you motivated to get moving with it. Pun intended.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that, wow.
Gotta end the episode and call the doctor.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't feel that out of shit. And here's something that I'm taking away from this right now as I'm processing this. So everybody listening, one, obviously I don't know everything about everything. And I don't always, I'm not, I'm on the path to figuring this out and to making it work. And, practicing is just as important as preaching, obviously. Right. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, I don't feel that out of shape. I don't feel that bad when it comes, like when I get in the ring, I don't get that blown up. I do all right, and
gotta stop you right there.
Yeah.
Gotta stop you right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. As your friend, I'm going to hold you accountable.
Shit.
I'm going to hold you accountable. You already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Say it.
It doesn't take a whole lot of physical exertion to beat a bunch of dudes up in the ring and not bump and feed. Take it from me. We have drastically different experiences in the ring where all I did was bump and feed and run the ropes. Right. And okay. I love you. I'm just telling you, hey, if I can go in there and squash a bunch of little dudes, walk out, not even break a sweat and just put my clothes on and go home.
Okay. All right. Am
I off base with that? I don't know. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm sure you showered afterwards, but okay.
I did shower afterwards. It's true though. You're right. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, it's time to own up to it. I'm probably not in the shape that I should be. But I will get it fixed. And this is a good little wake up call on the episode to
and it'll get you in shape for the tryout too. So this is all good that you found the number out because you won't be surprised by your conditioning. I think this was a good thing that it happened.
Yeah. Less lifting, more cardio. I think that's the big improvement area for me, and then more testing of it too. Cause I don't have enough numbers to put a ton of weight in behind it. So I need to do some more because when I'm looking at it, it's just the one workout that it showed. And so the one workout before that was a little bit higher. So I need to have some more workouts to test it, to show the real number and just see, but either way, it's got to come up because that's not good from where I want to be. So
do you want me to give you an idea for your CrossFit channel?
Sure.
I think you document that and make that into a video about calculating and getting your Vo2 Max up, but tell them the story about, this is our pre-production talk, by the way, everybody. You talk about that. The journey is what you're talking about. So this is where my number is right now. Document over the course of 30 days, getting that number up and show different kinds of cardio they use with CrossFit and then come back with the number. I think it'd be an excellent thing of, how I raised my Vo2 Max over 30 days.
Okay. In a month, check in with me on an episode and we'll talk about it. We'll update on the Vo2 Max.
But I think it'd make an excellent video for your YouTube channel.
Yep. I think you're right. My friend. So anyway, enough of making me feel like a turd. The importance of cardio is obviously really important. And I will be a testament to that. Stevie's a living testament to that, where his cardiovascular health is far superior, and he's a little bit older than I am. So it's really, really important. And based on that chart, the more you can increase that, the better it's going to be. And so I'm right there with you. I will focus on it. And I think everybody listening should focus on it too.
I think I have one more question, but I think actually what we should do is maybe revisit this in 30 days.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe we should both document what we're doing, figure it out, collaborate on this, and maybe even a video to talk about our Vo2 Max with that between my channel and your channel, and do that. I think it'd be excellent because, like you said, you can add. You saw the metric at the bottom right hand corner. I think people go back and look at the chart about a 10-year risk or a 10-year. You can extend a ton of time, or you can take a ton of time away. It's all up to you. And also when you train that way too, Mike, it's going to expose a bad diet. It's going to expose lack of rest and recovery. So getting that kind of cardio in is going to give you a lot of markers, bad or good or mixture of both, of what you need to do or what you need to stop doing. That's what I look at it. It'll be a great indicator of everything you need to do.
Yeah. Yep. You said you had another question before we moved on.
I can't remember.
You can't remember.
We'll have a CT episode coming up. I feel bad that I called you out about the ring.
No, don't. It's good. I mean, I'm fine with it. Like I know that I didn't
exactly what I was saying when I stopped you. Wait a minute.
And see, here's the thing: is I don't feel that out of shape, but I know that my cardio is not where it should be, and it never has been. It's always been something that I've always, like I was. In college, I was a thrower. I threw the shot put in the discus. So I was always the weightman, like I don't run. I don't do a lot of cardio, and it's not my strength, and it's not something I like to do. I don't enjoy it. And so I just don't do a lot of it, but I know the importance of it, doing it and putting it into action and knowing it are separate things, like I know that it's super important. Do I always do it? No. I know that I shouldn't eat a ton of sugar, but do I always stay away from sugar? No, I have, I treat myself. And with cardio, that has been an area for me. I will sit in the gym and I will lift weights with you all day. We can go have a bro session, do some bodybuilding. You want to lift heavy? Let's go. But do I push the envelope from a cardio perspective? Not as much as I should. And that's where CrossFit for me has always been a give and or like not a give and take, a struggle, because it is cardiovascular heavy. And so I get like when I do CrossFit workouts, I get discouraged very quickly because my cardio is not where it should be. So then I get like, you're a turd. And then I just go back to lifting weights, and I'll lift weights so I can be big and strong. And that's all I focus on. And I don't focus enough on the cardio. And clearly it is going to bite me in the ass on the show because, got called out and in front of everybody that's listening. Luckily we don't have a million listeners,
maybe but this will also be the first one to go viral.
Yeah. Right. But it's good. A good reminder that I really need to focus in on my cardio and, make it better, and ways to do that. And I know the ways to do it, and that's doing that zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 cardio. And I will, again, do some steady state stuff. I'll get on my bike and ride for 30 minutes, but I don't push it. I don't really get my heart rate up too much. So focusing on that and pushing that zone 3, zone 4, and I'm going to use my Apple Watch to see where I'm at so that I can make sure that I'm in that higher zone cardio and really pushing it to make it that much better. So this is good. This is great. I'm glad. I'm happy about it, as much as it might be slightly embarrassing. It's a good thing, and it's only going to make me healthier and better. And I'll challenge everybody that's listening to improve their Vo2 Max faster than I will, because you won't.
I'm gonna turn this what you just said into something positive. The reason why I believe that you let that kind of stuff slip a little bit, it's because you are a natural athlete throughout all your life. You talked about it before. Yeah. You're just naturally good at running, good at things that you could do. Sure. And you stuck to your strengths. I was never a natural athlete. I'm still not. So for me, it's always, I got to do this because I'm no good at it. Because if I don't keep doing it, it's never going to get better. I'm not naturally good at any of that stuff. Sure. So we were from two different ends of the spectrum. It's not your fault. It's just that you're very naturally gifted at doing things like that without needing to look at the internal component. Now you see the number. It's like, okay, on the outside, I just don't get blown up and all this stuff. I don't get winded and I can do this.
Mhm.
But what are my insides looking like? So that's,
Yeah, definitely.
you know, that's what I see. I don't want
Well,
you
and
to
that's
feel bad about it. Now I feel worse than you do.
no, don't worry about it, man. And like, that's a whole nother conversation that we should have someday, talking about the skinny fat piece of this, right? Like or the unhealthy, the healthy fat, or whatever it is, the term of your outside, you look fine, but your insides are destroyed because there's so much other stuff that comes into that. And clearly this is an example where outside I look okay. I mean, I got a little extra around my stomach, but my insides, my cardiovascular health is not where it could be. And so, the more I can focus on that, the better it's going to be. So I think here, now that I'm thinking about this out loud, I think this is a perfect example of the importance of cardio. I mean, I think this was perfect to happen on the episode for us to really stress and explain how important cardiovascular health is, and doing cardio, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 cardio is to long-term health and wellness. Cause here I am, 40, I'm gonna be 41 in like a week. And my cardio is not where it should be. And so my life expectancy right now is not where it should be. And so if anything, take away from this episode by hearing my story right now, improve your cardio, because it's important. And I don't know how else we could have explained it better.
I'm going to buy you an air bike for your birthday.
No, I mean, it really truly is. It's just, it's a wake up call for me. And I hope this is a wake up call for everybody listening, that you need to really focus on your cardio, and to have the quality of life that you want for the long term. Like when you look at that chart's not the end of the world, because this is 10-year survival rate, 91% versus 97%. So there isn't a huge difference there. But if you get down here, there's a huge difference in your survival rate with stuff, for the highest death risk, you're 49% lower from any cause. It's
almost double lower as you improve the VO2 max. You're almost getting, a double the chance of living longer, or you're getting double the chance of dying sooner if you're in that lower category, not the higher, or
right.
the lower number to the left.
Right. And so and when you look at the category that I'm in the fair category, which is most people, but I could definitely be better. There's no reason why I shouldn't be over in the superior category with you. So it's going to take some work, but I'm going to do it. And that's a good visual to see. And I hope everybody listening takes the time to go to the YouTube video and check this chart out and see it, so that you can figure out yours. And if you got an Apple Watch, definitely take advantage of what the Apple Watch has to offer, and getting you on the path towards increasing your VO2 max.
Well, I'm ready to get chopped and reseated in the ring from bringing this up. So I'll take us out now.
I brought it up, dude. It was all me.
For anybody, I came up with the topic, so it's kind of my fault. I'll take us out this time. So thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode. Episode 52 has to do with cardio. We're going to revisit this maybe even 30 days from now. Mike and I will come back and we'll examine our numbers. We'll have a video attached to it, probably on our channels as well. You can check out Big Mike Behrens has a YouTube channel, CrossFit focused, supplement focused. If you want to check out the supplements, probably one of the best supplement brands in the world, X Endurance. Mike has all the information for that. He teaches me about supplements each and every day. He might not after today, after I, he might be mad at me. Who knows? But this is the Big Fitness Show. You can always email us. I know there should be a lot of questions, Mike, about this episode. If you don't have questions, you need to pay better attention to your health, because we have questions after hosting the show. So thebigfitnessshow@gmail.com. Remember, thebigfitnessshow@gmail.com. Also, if you're a Spotify listener, or you want to go to Spotify, leave us a voicemail. We will play it here on the show. We want the interaction. The interaction will be great. This show is for you, not for us, so that we learn each and every episode. That's about it. Subscribe to Mike's YouTube channel as well as mine, Stevie Richards Fitness. Visit bigmikebehrens.com as well StevieRichardsFitness.com. That's it for now. Join us next week for episode 53, where I will also forget to read a book once again. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Have a great week.